All right, y'all, what is going on? So, of course, I'm going to be talking about, since I did the most disappointing films, now I'm going to be talking about the other list of the biggest surprise movie releases of the year so far. And yes, I did see quite a bit of movies over the course of the last few months. Seen at least over 40 movies over the course of the last few months, whether it be new or older ones from back then in the 80s, the 90s, and 2000s, even up till now, and then the ones I've seen up earlier this year, the ones I had to catch up on. So I wanted to talk about this video and talk about my 5 most biggest surprise releases. Now, a couple of them necessarily didn't come out in the year 2025, but I will talk about ones that I really feel like deserve to be so. Like I said, I'm only going to do maybe one or probably 2 honorable mentions. Now, the only one honorable mention I have as far as the biggest surprise releases is The Wrecking Crew. Not going to go into too much detail, make this a longer video like I did the other one. But basically, you don't know, this is basically of 2 estranged brothers, Johnny and James, played by Jason Momoa and Dave Bautista. They reunite after their father's mysterious death, so they both reconsider. What happened is their father mysteriously was murdered by a group of unknown common thieves and dope dealers and pushers, the ones that Johnny and James end up getting along. So pretty much they bond together, have brothers bond together, of course. In order to search for the truth, it revealed a bunch of buried secrets that tied to a lot of conspiracy theories and a few conspiracy theories and rumors and alleged allegations end up revealing about their family, ends up about to tear their family apart. And so in order to hide themselves from the truth, Johnny and James pretty much are covering up by trying to track down and locate the killers. And they do it in a way where it very much is a daunting, exhilarating, but at the same time more action-packed, top-notch, heavy, weighing a toll, and a heavy task that ends up weighing a toll on both of them. It was a lot of car chase scenes, a lot of car chase sequences in here that really was riveting, very much so captivating. So yeah, definitely check this one out. The Wrecking Crew, if you have not heard about it, check it out. Directed by Angel Miguel Soto. He's been around and done a lot of more like action films in the past, more producing than actually doing behind the director's chair. But this one he actually did behind the director's chair, and it was really cool, really interesting, and I thought that was really captivating. So yeah, let me just say that was really the biggest, one of the bigger ones that did not make the list. Actually, that was an honorable mention. Now, let's get into my top 5 of my most biggest surprise movies of the year. And starting out with number 5, as I'm going through this list here of notes that I have. And that is... And that, my friends, is Hoppers. Yes, Hoppers is the latest animated Pixar film. Now, I just did a review of another Pixar film on the other page. But of course, Hoppers... this was a 19-year-old environmentalist, and she played by Piper Corda. But it also is, the story was taking place, of course, when a scientist discovers a way to transform human consciousness into robotic animals. Mabel, like I said, the 19-year-old environmentalist, uses the new technology to uncover mysteries of an animal world that are beyond anything she could have imagined. And this film really took me by surprise and really took me aback, because Pixar had been so far up down the ladder in the most recent years of up and down inconsistencies at times, and inconsistencies when it comes to really having a really good, captivating Pixar film release that I really was really there and really so self-sufficient and self-efficiently was really trying to get behind and rally behind. And I feel like this one really was rallied behind, because it wasn't just about a simple, saving the human race and saving the animal life, and also saving the animal life and keeping that more in reform and in check, but it's also, you know, you tackling and also a character transformation from Mabel, what she did, into another form of consciousness, and it was more of robotic animals to learn about their environment. And I really appreciate this film really tackling that and really going to those themes, because she was also trying to save the dam, because the dam was pretty much being constructed. It was going to end up being constructed and turn into more of a non-wholesome environment for the animal life and the wildlife. And they was pretty much these animals, beavers and their dams. All of that was going to be taken away from them, and they end up having to move away from the actual dam, the actual, you know, lifestyle that they once loved and what they once known for living for and cared for. And so I like the fact that we end up seeing that, and those things end up getting tackled so much hard into the film, and really was there, and it really was, you know, assuring. So yes, my number 5 film really took me aback, really captivated me, really set an emotional outtake, was Hoppers. And that was the one that I really was surprised that Pixar came back and really took the film and really made it into its own. Really was about environmental life in the world and saving animal life, and more like an animal kingdom, and saving them from, you know, actually being run out and being taken over by a corrupt government and a corrupt society. All right, coming in at number 4 of my most surprise films is Ready or Not 2. Here I come. So Ready or Not 2, for those of you who did not know, follow up to the 2019 of the same name. Samara Weaving played as Grace Ladomus, and Faith played by Catherine Newton, and Sarah Michelle Gellar, Sean Hosty. So pretty much, there's a bunch of different families that was taking over this Ladomus household, and they all end up responsible of who becomes the head of the household, and they all end up playing this same nightmarish game that would happen in the first film of Grace end up having to, you know, extradite and pretty much exonerate her ex-fiance and members of her family, because they pretty much believed that she was kind of crazy, psychotic. And here is these 4 families that were playing this game, and of course the return of her sister, and they both end up going back to the same Ladomus household, end up competing in the games and the competition, and most of these 4 families who were trying to take control of the household end up sacrificing their own lives, end up sacrificing their own bidding and their own doing. Normally, I don't really like a whole lot of modern horror sequels. It takes a lot to really, really impress me, but this one really did. Because going into it, I saw a lot of mixed reactions. I was very nervous. I was like, oh man, I didn't know if this was going to be on the level of which I was expecting to be good, or was I was going to be on a similar playing field like the first installment. And then plus, I'm a huge fan of Samara Weaving, and this one did a whole big thing, a whole big deal. Really, really took me back, really hit me in the gut. And again, it was a lot of comedic moments that I found really cool, really nice. I even like the new cast additions. Like I said, Titus and Ursula, played by, like I said, Sarah Michelle Gellar and Sean Hosty. I thought they both had a really good moment in here. David Cronenberg, who actually was responsible of doing a lot of these horror films, as far as the monster movie in the modern era, he actually made an appearance in here, and he did a really good job. So I thought he really played an excellent part in here for what he did. Screen time. The only thing I would say, I think Elijah Wood should have gotten a little bit more screen time. But that would be the only complaint I have. But yeah, really good movie. Shout out to everybody that did this one. Ready or Not 2. Very much so a really good sequel all the way around. Now, coming in at number 3 of my most surprising films of the year of 2026. Oh. I can find one in here. Oh. Not that one. Yep, coming in at number 3, my most surprised films of 2026, and that is the He-Man Masters of the Universe, Travis Knight. Now, this film was pretty much a box office failure. That did not pretty much was pretty much not without left being said, because it had a bad word of mouth. The age discrepancy, the age factor really played a role in why this film did not succeed in the box office. But despite those matters, I thought Nicholas Galitzine as Prince Adam, Teela played by Camila Mendes. I thought Jared Leto Skeletor, while his voice necessarily did not match what I was initially hoping for Skeletor, he did an okay job. But really, the main character is Man at Arms by Idris Elba was the main standout point. Now, for those of you who don't know, He-Man Master of the Universe of 2026 is more of a reboot, or excuse me, a reimagining of the 80s cartoon and the 87 movie, which was played by Dolph Lundgren, which was absolute garbage. And fans were completely divisive in that time frame in the 80s, who were fans of that cartoon and who were fans of the movie. I mean, who weren't fans of the movie, who thought the movie was really just so lackluster, because not only bad character portrayals, lack of uses of other main comic portrayals of the same in the lore of the same one, and the mythology really wasn't just tackled so heavily in here. The whole mythology of Eternia, and like I said, the whole world shadow of Eternia and the ruler and of Skeletor and everything, all of that was tackled so well. The characters of Teela and Man at Arms in the 80s movie was not tackled at all well in that film, and they was really tackled and really executed very well. And I thought the casting choices was really nice. It was a bit at times that it did have a bit of toxic masculinity, and a few things of a couple of male estrogen that was more or less dumbed down and leveled down. Be the only thing I would say is a big complaint that I would say in the film. But other than that, I really thought this film was actually pretty good. It was actually pretty solid, and I definitely think it was a big surprise to a lot of fans who really enjoyed He-Man. I thought that was really, really solid. So yeah, definitely take your time to really check this one out if you haven't seen it. It really is interesting, and I definitely recommend you guys to check it out. Coming in at number 2 of my biggest surprise films, and that is the drama, Robert Pattinson and Zendaya. Now, I have not been a big fan of either one of these two actors in their most recent material, but Robert Pattinson did a really good job as Bruce Wayne in Batman, in the Matt Reeves live-action Batman film. But Robert Pattinson has been kind of hit or miss when it comes to films, and Zendaya has definitely been hit or miss when it comes to her most recent films, if she's not playing Michelle Jones in Spider-Man. But she's been kind of hit or miss, up and down, up in the air. Now, A24, they've been kind of hit or miss and up and down, up in the air. So this sort of like the hiring and casting directors that wanted both of them in this latest one, I was just kind of nervous. I'm like, oh man, is this gonna be one of those sappy dark comedy, but not really tackling a whole bunch of the romance? No, none of that. Even all those doubts that I had was completely went away and casted away. This film was solid, really, really solid. I was not expecting both of them to have really solid chemistry in here, because they're both two totally different lanes of acting, and both of them had certain ideologies and just certain personality and acting character traits that I wouldn't thought they would merit together, and they did. They really merit together so well. Heavy subject matter. I'm not going to spoil that if you haven't seen the movie, but just to let you know, it tackles a topic that really should be discussed more often, and I really thought that it did that very well. And I thought both of the performances and even the extra and even the other cast members, they had a lot of screen time too, but mainly these two really, excuse me, really these two had really excellent chemistry all around, and I definitely got to say, it fits nicely in competitiveness of what they done. So yeah, definitely A24 was a big swing, and it really hit and knocked it out of the park. and both of them performances really just hit the mark, hit the landmark, and we'll definitely go back to see this one again in the nearest future. So definitely check out the drama. And then number one of my most surprised films of 2026, and that is without a shadow of a doubt, no surprise, is Holcomb. Damian McCarthy. Yes, Holcomb is my biggest surprise film of the year. And the reason why I have this at number one and not, people were thinking, okay, maybe I would have something like Obsession or whatever because of the box office, or Backwoods, whatever, because of the box office value. No, Holcomb was the biggest surprise for me because, again, Damian McCarthy, I wasn't the biggest fan of Caveat and Oddity, which I really did enjoy. It led me to believe and have questions of, like, can Damian McCarthy, does he have another a leg underneath his belt? Does it really have, it's like the win on the sellings, the a leg underneath his belt? Does he really have? Can he really have another film that is? Can he be very consistent? Can he really step into another direction and really challenge the viewer, really challenge the audience with more aspects of demonic possessions and spellbounding and spell casting, and really have an intriguing and interesting story? And he really did. Like, I tell you, this one pretty much is surrounded by a novelist who is standing in his remote end cabin, and he pretty much is scattered by his his parents' death, and he's also he's standing at his honeymoon suite, and he has shocking visions and thoughts about his wife's disappearance. But he usually stays in here to try to cope and really reflect and meditate and really feel and really get a good just kind of reflect on a lot of things that happened in his past that felt traumatizing. And like I said, he ends up having visions of nightmares of a lot of, like I said, demonic possessiveness, demonic creatures, just things that are of dark images that confront end of his past, that really trickles down and traumatizes him and haunts him at the end to the core. And this is played by Adam Scott, played as a novelist on Bauman. Like I said, he has all these thoughts, has all these ideas and theories that really come into his head and really captivates him in a way where it just trickles down, affects, and haunts him. And again, the look of the demons, the visuals, the overall aspects of the musical score, which was epic. I thought the absolute hauntingness of the look of these demons, these creatures, the other cast members too, really, Austin Emilio and Florence Odesh, all of them really had a great performance in here as well. So I thought this film really hit the mark and landed everything without a doubt. So those are my most surprise films of 2026. Let me guys know what you think down in the comment section below. And yeah, I'm out. Peace.